so much about me, and I know why. Sticking to the same, why you drinking water? I don't know why. Everything is lovely, every steady money.
Sick of seeing niggas dying. Sick of seeing mama crying. Sick of all these niggas lying. I'm sick of always forgiving, but I'm trying. So I stick to writing all of these rhymes. And I know they biting all of my lines. You can see it all up in my eyes. I overcame it every single time. All my life I was one of a kind. They told me I was out of line. I had to turn back into my mind. I had to turn back into that line. I had to take them back to Zion. And all I can see, I'm no longer blind. I got back connected to the vine. And he got me feeling so divine. And now I'm gonna kill him every time. I'm dreaming about it every night. These demons be trying to keep me from living right. I gotta keep my enemies inside. This turtle pie got me in the highs. I'm flying hard, he got me blowing lies. I feel like this life ain't been going right. I feel like it's time and I'm gonna fly. If it's me and you, then you about to die. You rolling with me, then you about to ride. Why can't you see that you're not alive? You are nothing like us, you are not my kind. I've been looking up for a sign. You tell me that we at the borderline. You niggas wishing you had more time. But the niggas ready cause it's war time.
And I know why. You still wanna see me down, and it's going on around. I don't know why. Say they really let me, but they put so much above me, and I know why. I'm sticking to the same, why you drinking better? I don't know why. Everything is lovely, every steady money, and I know why. They used to wanna see me down, haters from when I'm around. I don't know why. They say they really love me, but they put so much above me, and I know why. I'm sticking to the same, like we drinking better. I don't know why. But everything is lovely, and we steady getting money.
Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, little flock of laters. You know how we do over here at the Tent of David. You're going to always hear some music talking about the Most High and what he's done for you, because that's what we do at the School of Marvelous Light at the Tent of David. So welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, little flock, like I said. Tonight, I want you to go to the book of 1 Samuel. And before we start, let me tell you guys a little bit about the experience that I had today. I heard some people having a conversation, right? And it was an elder gentleman, like we were talking about the old hoary head, and age is not honorable age of days. See that, little flock? That's not what age is. That's not what determines a man's age. You see it? My bad, y'all. But wisdom is the gray hair. You see that there? So today I was listening to a man, a hoary head, older man, speaking to a younger woman. And they were having a conversation about the voting and the politics of today. As you all know, it's that time of the year here in America where they do their voting, you see, for their president, for their leader. So, you know, a lot of people are talking about it, especially amongst the Israelite community. And the elder gentleman was asking the younger woman who she was going to vote for. And she said, neither. He said, you're not voting for Trump or Kamala, huh? You're not voting. She said, no, I'm not voting. He asked her why. Why aren't you voting? And she said, because Abbas not on the ballot. That was her answer. Because Abbas not on the ballot. If he were, I'd vote. And so he got offended at that. And he started to say, well, these people are determining your daily life. You know, what's going to happen in your life. And he was talking about how one of those presidents, I believe it was Trump, was talking about cutting Social Security or something, which he's a partaker of that. So, you know, he's worried about that getting cut. You see, so he believes that the president he has determines whether that will happen or not. So he's a supporter of Kamala Harris, allegedly. I don't know. I'm just Just going to say, you know. So he was like giving his reasons as to why she should vote and get involved and, you know, blah, 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 blah. But when she gave her reasons, like I said, he got a little indignant. So much so that he said, well, I'm just done talking to you. I'm just done talking to you. Because he was saying, what do you think? You should be able to live for free? That's what he said. Now, these are two Israelite people. One's an elder man, Israelite. One's a younger woman, Israelite. But do you see how he responded? Being the elder, you see how he responded to the younger woman? He didn't agree with her stance, and so he said, well, I'm just done talking to you about it. I don't even want to talk about it no more then. Because that's crazy what you saying. You think you should live for free? What about your bills? You can't just go to the, watch what he says. He said, you can't just go to the bill collector and tell him, Abba gonna pay my bills. You can't just tell them that. See the attitude? You see what we as Israelites got to deal with? You see it? As the servants of the Most High, when we go to our people, can't you see what I'm telling you we have to deal with? That way of thinking. I'm right, you're wrong, even though they're wrong, and you're the one that's right. You see it? So this message today is going to be about that exact topic. Since that's what everybody's talking about right now, we should talk about it from the truth perspective, shouldn't we? It's all about elections, and it's all about who's going to take. Well, they have their first president. You see it? Well, they'll have their first woman president, their first woman president, and a so-called black woman at that, even though there's a bunch of discrepancy about whether this woman is even so-called black woman or not. Trump even said, I don't know even she's black. One minute she wasn't, then next minute she said she's black. So I don't know. You see it? You guys haven't heard what Candace Owens has to say concerning this matter? Well, do you see all this discrepancy I'm talking about? All of that wouldn't even be an issue to you guys if you just heeded to the truth, which is what we do here at the School of Marvelous Light, you see. But I know that the world is so offended at us that they're not going to listen to anything we have to say, like that old elder man said about what that girl had to say. Abba ain't on the ballot. And then this man says, now watch this, little fly, before I start into this message in Samuel. Then this man says, before he ended the conversation, he said, well, who is Abba? And she told him who Abba was. Now, this man goes to church every Sunday. He plays in the band at church. You hear me, little flock? And he didn't know who Abba was. He goes to Sunday service every Sunday. So today is Sunday. Do you think he went this morning? Yes. He had a suit on and everything. And he's telling her that her viewpoint concerning God is completely wrong. And who is Abba? Who is that even? And then when he comes back home from church, he comes back home with a 40 ounce in his hand and a bag full of beers clinking around in a bag with his Sunday's best walking on as he's walking back in from church. Y'all see what I'm trying to tell you today, little flock? So anyway, he says, well, who is this Abba? And she tells him who he is. And then he says, how do you spell that? Now I'm thinking to myself, Abba. Y'all hear what I'm saying today? Abba. Let me see. That probably consists of two letters. Ab, A-B, and Ba, B-A. He says, how do you spell it? Because I want to do some research on this Abba you talking about. You hear that there, little flock? So anyway, like I said, the point of the message the point of the conversation they were having was about voting and about setting a leader over yourselves. You see it? Not some leader being thrust upon you. It's you setting a leader on your own damn self. Now, we want to see how Abba feels about that, since that's what the girl said was Abba. Let's see how Abba feels about you setting somebody up over yourself. Let's just see. Go to 1 Samuel. All right. 1 Samuel chapter 8. We're going to start in verse 1. 1 Samuel chapter 8. We're going to start at verse 1. And it came to pass, when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. See that there? And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre. You guys hear that? So they didn't walk in the ways of their father Samuel. They walked after lucre. You hear that word? What is lucre, little flock? Because some people, when they hear lucre, they think that means money. But that's not what it means, you see. It means ill-gotten gain. The key word in there that you need to pay attention to, I know men's minds focus on the part where it says gain. And I can understand why, because men's minds are focused on getting more. You understand? When they're in the carnal mind, they're trying to feed a bottomless pit. So I can understand why their mind is only set on more and more and get some 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 more. You understand what I'm saying? So I can understand why their mind is focused on gain. But the key word you need to be focused on when it comes to lucre is ill. Ill-gotten gain. Immorally gotten gain. Though it is monetary, you see, it is ill-gotten. You hear that there? Gotten illegally or immorally. You hear that there? Profit. So now, let's get an example of that. It says there that he set them as judges over Israel. So then what was he? Samuel, that is. He was a judge over Israel. So if you are in the position of a judge, then how could you acquire filthy lucre? Watch how easy this is going to be. Well, let's say somebody committed a murder, right? And then they got caught and brought to you. And all the evidence was brought before you and proved that this person indeed did do the murder. And so while you were trying to decide the judgment to give this person, you went home to deliberate on your idea and think about what you would do and what's the right decision to make. And while you were at home, you got a knock on your door. This knock on your door was from some messengers that were sent from the guy that did the murder. They were sent to your house from him. And when the messengers came, they said, hey, look here, man, we got $10 million here. And you say, well, you ask the judge, say, well, what's the $10 million for? They say the $10 million is here to let our guy go free. And you're like, well, it's overwhelming evidence here that says that he did it. And I know that he did it. All I have to do is decide what the punishment's going to be. Well, this $10 million will say that he didn't do it. And there is no evidence. How about that? Now, what do, little flock? If you take the money and you wipe away the evidence and you say, this guy is free. How do you say it? This case is dismissed. Slam. And he hits the gavel and shit. He got some gain, didn't he? He made a profit, didn't he? But didn't he get some ill profit? Didn't he falsify judgment and defile his seat and position so that he could get this gain? So did he get it honestly? Did he get it legally? Or did he get it ill and immorally? See? So the sons sitting as judges, that's the kind of thing that they would do. If a rich man came there before the judgment seat, he would give them money. Now, what do we call that in this world? Bribes, right? Now, let's see if this word pops up here in this scripture to give you further in-depth understanding of what it means by them taking this lucre. Let's see. And his sons walked not in his ways. My bad, y'all. But turned aside. Hold on 1 second. My device tripping a little bit. All right, my bad. So it says, and his sons, verse 3, walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, which we just discussed, and took bribes. Oh my goodness. So do you see it? They were taking bribes. Hey man, just take this check and then forget what the crime was done. Okay, but that may hurt the person who the crime was done against. Oh well, that guy's poor. Who cares? He doesn't have anything to give you. He doesn't have any incentive for you to listen to him, does he? See, that's filthy lucre, man. Taking bribes. Unrighteous judgment. Let's see. They took bribes and perverted judgment. See? Perverted it, twisted it around and flipped it around and made it wicked as hell. So you guys know that this goes down in the earth. You see it? Well, so was it going down in Israel as we just discussed, like I said. So let's continue. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us. Can you hear that there? Make us a king to judge us like all the nations. Stop. So what the grandson about to point your mind to? You guys know. Like all the nations. So Israel being a set apart nation, don't do like the other nations. Didn't Yahushua say, all of these things the Gentiles seek after, but be not like unto them? So then you're supposed to be set apart, sanctified, and holy. For thou art an holy people unto I am thy power. Isn't that written in the scripture? For thou art an peculiar people, set apart and separated, and I have severed thee from other people. I need you guys to hear that. If you're an Israelite, you have been severed. Do you understand the word sever? Okay, let me give you an illustration that will help you understand it. You have an artery running through your neck called your jugular, right? If I sever it, what will happen to you? Skeet-deedle-deed. Well, X is in your eyes, right? Why? Because you cut it. So this people, this one nation on earth, are cut off from other people. They're separated by the way that they are and the way that they think and feel. You see it? And I'm teaching you how to be set apart. So therefore, if you're an Israelite, you will be reminded of who you are because that was stripped from you. So you need to be reminded of who you are so you can come back to the truth of who you are. And you will know that you are an Israelite if you resonate with the truth that I tell you about how you should be. You'll know that that's how you should be. You see what I'm saying to you? All right, then. So now they perverted judgment and all that stuff, right? And then the elders came, right? And they said, make us a king like all the other nations. So this people didn't have no king. No physical king. You see it there? But what? And the Lord said, but the thing displeased Samuel. So did it make Samuel happy when they asked for that? Well, no, it didn't. And when they said, it displeased Samuel when they said, give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto I am. And I am said unto Samuel, hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. So when you start to do like what that old man said and start to vote for a president to rule over you, like the other nations have people ruling over them, then what does that mean that you're doing? You're rejecting God. See how simple that is to understand? So now this guy gets all indignant with the young woman because she says, Abbas not on the ballot, so I'm not voting. Which is obviously the righteous, right-thinking thing to do, isn't it? See what I'm trying to explain to you? But how did he respond to it? As if he were offended. And how what she was doing was stupid, irresponsible, dumb, and pointless. See what I mean? Well, we're getting into why. I told you they were Israelites that were having this conversation. Look at how the Israelites think. Now watch this.
according to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, little g, so do they also unto thee. See it? They reject me and they go off to serve other gods, other idols, things wherein there is no profit. That's what they're serving. They've always been doing it ever since I brought them up out of Egypt. Egypt is bondage, the house of bondage, it says. So they were brought out of there, and they think ever since then that there's something else that's going to help them survive, pay their bills, like the man was saying, eat your food and get your check. See? Egypt. Shit, Egypt giving me my check, man. So I need to vote for the man that's going to keep my check rolling in. See? Isn't that what he was saying? Isn't that what most people are saying? Okay, then. So let's see. He says, now therefore, hearken unto their voice. Listen to them. Howbeit, yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. Howbeit, yet protest solemnly unto them. Solemnly is seriously and sincerely. So protest, did you hear that, little flock? So when your people start to say, let's go get somebody to set up over us and rule and reign over us, what should the prophet or the servant of God do? He should solemnly protest to those people and tell them the truth concerning the man that they would like to have rule over them, how he will do them. You think it's going to be good when he does this stuff to you, but it's not. He's only doing things for his own benefit. Why can't you understand that? What does anybody else in this world do? They only do what benefits them. So then what makes you think they would set a leader over them that does something different? If everybody's about getting and acquiring for themselves, then won't they set a man over them that's all about getting and acquiring for himself? And more and more and more and more and get more and more and more and more and more and more. You see? Vanity and sanity. That's what that is when you get going more. Can never be filled. A bottomless damn pit. That's what happens when you're in the carnal mind. So carnally minded people are going to set somebody carnal up over them. Well, let's see if he's about more and he's about getting more for himself and building himself up. Let's see if that's the way a king will do you when you set some carnal king up over you. Let's see. Instead of the Spirit of God over you. Let's see what happens. So he says, and Samuel told all of the words of I am unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, watch, this is what he's going to say about the king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and lo, be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. Stop. So then that means that he will recruit some of your men into his military. Have you guys ever heard of the draft? See what I'm trying to tell you here? Isn't it easy to understand that? Has that ever been done on earth? Even in the countries where you, who may not even be from America, even in the countries where you reside. Have you guys ever experienced something called the draft or selective service? Where they come and get your son and tell him he has to join the military. He doesn't have a choice in it. He has to do his citizen duty to his country. Have you guys ever heard of that? Well, that's the first thing that he said the king will do. So have the presidents ever done this to the people? Yes, they have. See it? But y'all keep setting them up there. You keep wanting them above you. You keep putting another one up. What do you think voting is about? It's about you choosing who you want over your head. That's what it's about. And this is what happens to you when you do that. You suffer because you're not letting the Spirit of God rule. You're letting the carnal mind rule. And the carnal mind is death. So imagine that. Imagine who you have sitting in your Oval Office. Imagine who you have sitting on your kingly thrones. Imagine who you have sitting in your palaces. Nothing but death. And you think you guys will have more life and peace among your nations? Yeah, right. Not without the Spirit you won't, because the Spirit is life and peace. And it's not found anywhere else. Continuing. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, captains over fifties, and will set them to, excuse me, before I continue, he said, I will set them captains over thousands, captains over fifties. You guys ever heard of a general? You ever heard of a lieutenant, a colonel, a major, a sergeant? You guys ever heard of these things called rank? Well, it says it right there that he'd do that to you. So every nation, don't he got people that he then took from the citizens as their sons from the citizens and took them and made them captains and generals and all kind of shit in his military? Yeah, he has. So then these words are being fulfilled here. Let's continue. And he will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest. So then he will make them farmers among his land. Is that happening? Does the government end up buying all the land, buying all the seeds, and forcing the farmers to do things their way? Or they're not allowed to do certain things? So then there you have it again. Let's see what else. And to make his instruments of war, so his industry, where they make the tanks, they make the Humvees, they make the tires, the bullets, the guns. The citizens of his nation do that. He hires them to do that. So then they have to work and slave to make his build up his military. That's what happens. Gosh, golly, guys, isn't that what happens? All right, so let's continue. And he will take your daughters. You see that? Instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. See, Humvees and shit. Tanks, helicopters. You see? And he will take your daughters to be his confectionaries and to be cooks and to be bakers. You see that there? To be chefs. You see? To be chefs, cooks. Making fancy dishes and shit. You see that? And he will take your fields, see, your land from you, and your vineyards. He will buy up all your land by eminent domain. See it? And your olive yards, even the best of them. See it? And give them to his servants. And he will take the 10th of your seed, tax your ass, and of your vineyards, and give to his officers and to his servants. See, taxes. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses and put them to his work. And he will take the 10th of your sheep, and you shall be his servant. So he will take your maid servants, men servants, your goodliest men, and your asses and put them to his work. So let's see, right here in America, they had a Civil War. And around this time, they were talking about abolishing slavery. Now, you had the people in the South were like, we're not giving up our slaves. We make too much goddamn money off these slaves to just be giving them up because you say that we should. Well, it wasn't that the North was saying that you should give your slaves up. What they were actually saying was you should give your slaves to us so we can make money off those niggas. We want to make some money too. So then that same dynamic has always been that way here in America. It's just been disguised through the years that there are these two parties fighting over the Negroes' servitude. We got the better way to rule over them. And then the other side says, no, we know the better way to rule over them like this. And the other side says, no, it's better to rule over them like that. And the whole time you have the Israelites in the middle saying, well, yeah, we want them to rule over us. One of you guys pick somebody, which one? And they argue over which one, and they argue. And then they finally pick, and then they just accept whoever they get. Y'all hear that today? It's all stupidity and loops and dumb shit. So we're just going to continue and keep reading and see what else we find. So he's taken everything, as you can see. He's taken everything for himself and for his friends. Watch this. And you shall cry out in that day because of your king. Stop. So you're going to cry out because of who? The same king that you picked over you. So just like today, niggas is voting, setting up kings over themselves, and then they get pissed off because of how that nigga acted after he got put up there. He didn't do nothing to help them. He made their life even worse. He did even more crazier things to put them in even further bondage. And then they hated that nigga and cried out because of him. It always happens, doesn't it? Well, that's what he said would happen. Let's continue. And you shall cry out in that day because of your king, which you shall have chosen you. See, you picked him. And the Lord, I am, will not hear you. In that day. See, you picked him. You wanted him. So ain't no need in you crying out to me, the one you rejected. Isn't that silly to do that? The Spirit is here and you reject the Spirit, like we read in our message yesterday that Stephen said, you do always resist the Spirit. So when you resist the Spirit, you get something carnal, and then that carnal thing is death, and you find out that it was vain and death when you did it and you picked this guy. So then you run back to the Spirit and say, help me, save me. And he's going to say, huh? Somebody, did y'all hear something? Oh, no, I ain't hear nothing. Nope, I won't hear it. That's what he just said, right? All right, then. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel. And they said, no, but we will have a king over us. So they didn't care. Do you see it? They refused to listen. We ain't listening to that crap. We want a king like the other nations. The other nations look so happy. They look so content and peaceful and at rest. We want that too. All right. So they didn't listen. And I said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. So y'all go home, man. All right. I'll go ahead and give you a king. Now, when this king gets picked, I want you guys to pay attention to the attributes as to why he gets picked. All right? Now pay attention. Now there was a man of Kish. This is chapter 9, verse 1. Kish. There was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish. There we go. The son of Abiel, the son of Zeror, the son of Bechorath, the son of Appiah, a Benjamite, a mighty man of power, valor. Did you see that? So Kish was a mighty man out of Benjamin. He was a Benjamite, you see? And he had a son whose name was Saul, a choice young man. You see? Saul means asked of God. So you see the people asked, and that's what Saul's name means, to inquire or to ask of God, the one asked of God. That's what his name means, you see? A choice young man. Watch what it says. And a goodly. And there was not among the children of Israel a goodlier person than he. So that means he was a choice young man and a goodly. Goodly means handsome. Is that clear enough for the little flock to understand? He looked good. So to the eye and outward appearance, he looked good. In matter of fact, it goes on to say that he looked better than every other Israelite that was around. So he was the best looking man. Why am I bringing so much attention to that point? Because I told you about men's judgment, haven't I? And how men judge. How do they judge a little flock? Flocculate on them. They judge outward appearance. So you see how that's what it's saying about this king that they asked for? All right then. Use wisdom today. So it says, he was more goodlier than all the other Israelites. We're in verse 2. From his shoulders and upward, he was higher than any of the people. So he was taller. Did I tell you guys? This is what people say a high value man is. Now watch this. In this world, do they say a high value man is 5 foot anything? Or is he at least 6 feet tall? What do they say in this world? You guys know the answer to that. He's at least 6 feet tall. If he wants to be high value, he has to be 6 feet or taller. He has to have 6 figures or more. These are the high value credentials that the world wanders over. So then look at Saul. His father was a mighty man. So he was wealthy. He was a powerful man, it says. So he was wealthy, had money. He was also taller than the rest and more handsome than every damn body. Look what God is showing you guys. This is what you guys want. You want someone who appears outwardly righteous and glorified and rich and tall and handsome. So here you go, since that's what you think high value is. But I told you the value that you're going to get. Shit. Is that what he said? He's going to treat y'all like shit. He's going to treat you like second-rate citizens, like you're nothing but serfs to serve him. Watch. And the asses of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. And Kish said to Saul his son, take now one of the servants with thee, and arise, go and seek the asses. Now what's happening here is Abbas sending him so that he can eventually meet Samuel and get anointed king. All right.
So he gets anointed king by Samuel. All right. All right. Now let's go to Samuel chapter 15. Okay, chapter 15, let's start at verse 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, I am sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of I am. Thus saith I am of armies. I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way, when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant, suckling, ox, sheep, camel, ass. So then what did Abba tell Saul to do? He commanded him to kill everything of Amalek, all of it. Don't leave nothing left. Right? Okay. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. What did he do? He spared King Agag. But he destroyed everybody else. Abbas said, spare not. Didn't he? Okay. And Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and of the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, trash, that they destroyed utterly. So the stuff that looked good to them, they took that for themselves, even though Abba said, don't do that, but destroy it all. See what happens when you take a king? He starts thinking about getting for himself, like I told you guys. Didn't I say that? See? All right, then. Then came the word of I am unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king. For he has turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto I am all night. See, he didn't do what I told him to do. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of I am. I have performed the commandment of I am. Look at this guy. I did what he told me to do. And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears? And why do I hear sheep bleating? Bah, bah. Why do I hear that if you killed them all? Didn't it say they kept the best parts? Now let's see what he's going to say. What is the sound of this bleating of sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto I am your El, and the rest we have utterly destroyed to the Lord your God. So he's saying your? Isn't that interesting? Not our. We brought the sheep and the oxen so that we could sacrifice them to your God, Samuel. Interesting. Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what I am have said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, was thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? So in other words, when you thought very little of yourself, you thought you were just a regular person. Didn't Abba just choose you and take you and rise you up? And Abba anointed thee king over Israel? And I am sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of I am, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of I am? And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of I am, and have gone the way which I am sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil, the sheep, the oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto I am thy El, see, your God, in Gilgal. And Samuel said, Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of I am? Obedience is better than sacrifice. Isn't that what he's saying right there? Yep, he is. He says, and to hearken, to listen, than the fat of rams. Wouldn't he like you to listen to him rather than to burn up some rams? For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of I am, he hath also rejected thee from being king. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of I am, and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their stop. Because he what? I told you guys, that's not what the kind of king God wants. He will never allow a king of Israel to sit in his throne if he fears the people. He won't do it. Because if he fears the people, he will do dumb shit to please them. He will become a men pleaser. And if you become a men pleaser, then you hate God. So do you guys see why I don't care about people's opinions about me? See why? Because I'm only interested in the opinion of I am. That's the only opinion that matters to me. Not men's. You see? Because when you men please, you end up doing dumb shit and forsaking the position God gave you. Why would I want to do that? Maybe for vainglory, that feeling that only lasts a moment. Well, let's see. Now, therefore, I pray thee, pardon my sin, and turn again with me, that I may worship I am. And Samuel said unto Saul, I will not return with thee, for thou hast rejected the word of I am, and I am have rejected thee from being king over Israel. And as Samuel turned about to go away, he laid hold upon the skirt of his mantle, and it rent. And Samuel said unto him, I am have rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to a neighbor of thine that is better than you. Who is that, little flock? Doesn't matter if you know. You can just say you don't know if you don't know, because I'm going to reveal them to you if you don't. But many of you flockulators do know. Who's better? Now, he probably didn't like to hear that when he heard it. But later on in life, when he faced that man, he told that man to his face, you're a better man than me. See how Abba's word just be true? Even if you don't like it, even if it make you feel some type of way, even if it make you want to kill. See, it made Saul want to kill. He sought to kill the one who was better than him. Interesting. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent, for he is not a man that he should repent. Then he said, I have sinned, yet honor me now, I pray thee, before the elders of my people, see, before the people, and before Israel, and turn again with me, that I may worship I am thy El. So Samuel turned again after Saul, and Saul worshipped I am. Okay? Now let's see what Samuel does with Agag before we read about the next one who's picked. And Samuel said, then Samuel said, Bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. And Samuel said, As thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before I am in Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house in Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and I am repented that he had made Saul king over Israel. You see it? You see that there? So he chopped Agag up in pieces. Samuel did. Prophet of God did that. Do you see? Now, let's see here. Let's see here. All right. Before we go there, I'm going to get something else real quick. Y'all just bear with me for a second. All right. Now watch this here, little flock. 1 Samuel chapter 16, start at verse 1. And I am said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Ishai. See that there, little flock of laters? I will send you to Ishai, Jesse, see, the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. All right. And Samuel said, How can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And I am said, Take a heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice if I am. So Saul's going to kill anybody who he thinks God has chosen to take his place, so that he can remain in his throne. He thinks he can thwart God's plan by murdering anybody who seeks to come up in that spot. You see? That's what Samuel was saying. But let's just go ahead and jump ahead to when Samuel gets there and sees the guy I tell you all about every time. His name is Eliab. Let's see what happens. All right. Let's see. Okay. Verse 6. And it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab. So they were come as the sons of Jesse. The sons of Jesse came before him. And when he saw them, he looked on Eliab, see, and said, Surely the Lord's anointed is before him. See it? This has got to be the guy. That's what Samuel said. Now, did you guys hear about how the first one was picked? He was picked on outward appearance. Correct? So now, let's see if the second one is picked the same way. Let's see. The better man. Let's see if the better man is picked for his outward appearance. Let's see. So he says, Surely this is the Lord's anointed. You see that there? But I am said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature. See, the same things he talked about earlier. Don't look at how good he look, like you did with Saul. Don't look at how tall he is, like you did with your first king. See it there. For I have refused him. For I am seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but I am looketh on the heart. So now, what is he choosing this king based upon? It's clear what he's choosing him on. It was clear what he chose the first one on, and the first one wasn't good enough. It's better if you choose a man for his heart, and you'll get a better result. Let's see. Look not on his outward appearance, for Abba looketh on the heart. Then Yishai called Abinadab and made him pass. And it goes on and on and on and on and on, right? Now watch this. And he sent, verse 11. And Samuel said unto Yishai, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. See, shepherd. You see it? And Samuel said unto Ishai, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And I am said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. See that? And Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the spirit of I am came upon David, beloved, from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the spirit of I am departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from I am troubled him. Because I am does all of these things, kills and makes alive. Oh my goodness gracious, can you guys hear it? So that's the message, little flock. This is what happens when you choose outward appearance. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's just a king. It matters if it's a car. It matters if it's a house. It matters if it's a friend. It matters if it's a wife. It doesn't matter what it is. If you choose it because of its outward appearance, then you have chosen wrong according to what God says, and he knows men do that. So he warned you and showed you what will happen when you do first. And then he taught you the right way to judge and says, don't judge outward appearance, but judge the heart. He's teaching you how to judge. You looked at the outward appearance of the other nations, and that's why you wanted what you thought looked good. It is not good, though. Now that you're here and experiencing the results of your life being here, doesn't it show that it's not happy and not life and not peace, but rather it's death? Isn't the fruits of it showing itself now in you guys' culture and in you guys' world that you live in? I know they sang all of these songs. Oh, home on the range where the buffalo play and everything. Yeah, that was a cool song and everything until you smoked all the buffalo. So then the truth had to come forward. And then you said, oh, home of the brave, land of the free. But yet you got more people incarcerated than anybody else on earth. You have more prisons built in you than anybody else. So you're the land of the free. You also are known for slavery and building this place up on slavery. But this is the land of the free. See how it sounds good? See how it looks good? It looks prosperous. It looks like they're having such a great life over there. I want to go to America. It looks so good in America. I want to go to America. I'll even jump over the border to get to America. I will just run through the wall and just run over there to America. Look at this shit. These niggas will run over a wall, run through some shit, go through a tunnel and everything to get to America. Because it looked like it's something good. But then you get over here and you find out you just work for the king. That's all in the hell you will do. You will become a debt slave. Now, guys, before I end this message, I guess I'll go ahead on and give you guys this tidbit of wisdom here. If I can find it real quick, let me see. Let's see. Let me see, y'all. Now, there's one relationship in particular that I want to bring to you guys' attention before I end this message. And it's ironic that David, once he is an anointed king, his best friend becomes the son of Saul, whose name is Yohanan. See that there, little flock, which means Yah is gracious. You see it? So King David has one in his bosom named Yohanan. Now look at the New Testament. Who is the King David in New Testament? Yahusha. Who does he have in his bosom? It just happens to be a man, his beloved, named Yohanan. Now watch, I'm going to prove it to you. Go to 1 Samuel chapter 18. Watch this. Verse 1. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day, and would not let him go no more home to his father's house. And Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own soul. And Yochanan stripped it himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. You see that their little flock. So their souls were knit together and they loved one another. David loved Jonathan as his own soul. So the beloved loves Abba's grace as his own soul. And that's why you see Yahusha's greatest disciple named Yohanan, which represents God's grace. That's the one he loved. So it is today, as I have told you all. See how it's no chinks in it? It never is, guys. It's always going to link up perfectly and snap together like Legos. That's what happens when the Spirit of truth is guiding the nation of Israel. It's when the nation of Israel seeks to put some man up there who goes by his own understanding. Yeah, let's just take some of this good stuff. Can't you guys see the good stuff? Yeah, but Abba says it ain't good. It's defiled. So then don't touch it. Matter of fact, destroy it. If you're going to touch it. Only touch it to destroy it. Yeah, but the people, man, they're saying, don't destroy that Saul. In other words, that's what was happening. Don't do that, Saul. Do this. Fuck that. I'm going to do what I am says. That's the better man. That's how I be. And that's what makes men mad when they deal with me. I told you guys, men have come to me and say, man, let's do this, grandson. Let's do that, grandson. Let's do this and then do this and then do this and then do this and then do this. And I'd be like, fuck that. I'm going to do what Abbas said to do. Do y'all understand? Do you understand my attitude and why it's like that? We just read it. Why today? So the branch shall go up into David and he shall sit on the throne. See why? Because he's going to do what Abbas say to do, not what any man will tell him to do. And the only way he will do what any man says to do is the man said what God said to do. You hear me today? So it all comes back to the Father. That's why he's the beloved one of the beloved. Yochanan. That's why their souls are knit as one. Soul means your psychological body. So their souls are knit. Can you guys hear what I'm saying today real quick? Let me just understand if you guys can really grasp it. What I'm telling you is that there's a true vine. Like I said in the song, I got back connected to the vine and he got me feeling so divine. He has me feeling that way because our souls are knit. He is the beloved of the Father. I am the grace of the Father who is in the bosom of the beloved one because he came with truth and grace. Can't you guys hear it? So Abba's grace to his vessels of mercy in the last days is what the Bible calls Yochanan. You see it? And that Yochanan must come and prophesy again before nations, peoples, and tongues. God's grace must. He must. So then when I told you guys I was in the 40 and God said, I give you my grace. Now, do you understand why I'm the one delivering these messages to you guys every single day? Do you understand why now? Isn't that interesting how that's all coming together like that? I would have to be a freaking genius to a level that no one has ever come to be able to tell you these things that I'm telling you, correct? If it were so easily to be done, then how come you guys haven't heard these things? How come the branch is capitalized in the Bible in all caps, but yet no one knows who he is? No one even knows about the prophecy, nor can anybody teach about it or break it down. But I am able to. Why is that? Because I'm the better man who's led by the Spirit of God, who's chosen because of his heart, not because of anything that he does on outward appearance. Isn't that easy to be understood? So I'm teaching you all how to be that better man. You understand? Be the better man today. Israel. Silawam.